Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my class, Molecular Mysteries. Hope you are thoroughly following my channel regularly. You're going.
Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly.
Good morning, students. Welcome back to my channel, Molecular Mysteries. Hope you're following my channel regularly. Hope my information is useful to the students out there and even with the general public. So, in the previous class, we have already started the animal physiology, right? So, I have covered the important enzymes, digestive enzymes, and also the classification of vitamins is also been discussed in the previous class, right? So, now let's enter our main animal anatomy, which is called the physiology, where we'll come across the respiratory system. See, respiratory system, have you ever noticed that? Do you know this fact that the only organ that floats on the water of all the organs in human body, the only organ that floats on the water is the human lungs. So it is a wonder thing, right? So that made me push to start this topic called respiratory system. So now, for your easy understanding, I just want to divide this whole respiratory system topic into two important parts, like respiratory tract and the lower respiratory tract, for your understanding. Okay. See, because respiration is something which decides a person is alive or dead, right? So is he able to breathe? Is the exchange of gases happening in his body? Like, exchange of gases is something that is happening in the lungs. So and the structural and functional unit for the respiratory system or the lungs is called the alveoli. So alveoli is something that is present in the lungs, and that is where the exchange of gases would happen. See, we are able to breathe oxygen and be able to release the CO2. That is what you call inhalation and exhalation, right? That is called the respiration. That process of respiration is so depth that it goes to the every part of your alveoli, and alveoli is something where even the blood passage also happens there, right? Alveoli is a group of cells where the exchange of gases would happen. The blood flows through those cells, and thus the exchange would happen. Thus the carbon dioxide that is present in the blood will be taken up by those alveoli, and thus it is sent out from the human lungs through the nose. Hence carbon dioxide is released out from our body. So this is a small explanation about the process of respiration. In this class, I want to talk about what is upper respiratory tract and what are the parts that come under the upper respiratory tract, and each and every part has got some bacteria and some virus would target those parts only. Okay. And I want to give you a slide where what are the different types of bacteria that would affect the different parts of your upper respiratory tract. We often hear that we have been going through the flu influenza viruses and coronaviruses, and these viruses are mainly targeting our throat, our pharynx, our larynx, and everything, right? So let's talk about the upper respiratory tract and the diseases that are that are seen only in the upper respiratory tract, and what are the parts and everything in detail. So for that, I need to draw the diagram, otherwise I can't really explain you all. Okay. So for that, let me tell you that the respiratory system starts with the nose, right? And it ends with, I told you, the alveoli that are present in the lungs. So nose is the opening of your respiratory system, right? So nose is immediately followed with, I will tell you, let me draw a diagram so that in this class I want to talk about upper respiratory system. Okay. How many parts are this upper respiratory system is divided? Okay, let's start with, this is the second part, and this is your third part. Okay. So now, so nasal cavity is mainly composed, starts with nose. Nose contains nostrils. So nostrils, they are meant for trapping of the dry foreign particles that come when they inhale, right? So nose is immediately followed with the nasal column or the nasal chamber, I can say. Okay. And this chamber is mainly composed of three important uh, places or three important openings I can say. Okay, and they are vestibular region, respiratory region, and olfactory region. So hope should be knowing this olfactory region because they are meant for sensing the smell, right? See, okay, now let's discuss about the nasal cavity. So these are the three important uh, parts of your upper respiratory tract. Okay, this is going to be immediately followed with larynx, pharynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles. I will discuss that in the next class. Okay, this class is only meant for upper respiratory system. So now I told you it's a nasal cavity that starts with nose and it is immediately followed with the vestibular region. This vestibular region contains small hair-like structures with mucus in it. You all know that all the linings in our body are having mucus, which is mainly important for trapping the foreign particles. It could be bacteria, it could be virus, and whatever it is, right? So it's meant for trapping it and easily removing it from the body. So it's called vestibular region, and it is in having a mucus thing which would remove the foreign particles. That's how you sneeze it out. When you sneeze it out, you are just throwing that foreign particle out of your body, right? That is what the vestibular region of your nasal cavity does. Okay, let's go for the respiratory region. This respiratory region would cools the air, because when we respire, the air that is coming from the outside might be warm, and it has to get equalized with your normal body temperature. Then only it would enter into the body, right? So you are cooling down the air, or you are moisturizing all the air. It happens in the respiratory region of your nasal chamber. Okay, and the olfactory region, what does this olfactory region? It is called the sense of smell. It is meant for identifying the sense of, or identifying the type of smell. I can say they have very sensitive cells which could easily identify the type of smell of the food, right? They're having sensitive cells. Okay, they're the olfactory region. Okay, now, let's go for the pharynx. See, what is this pharynx? I can say, if I draw a diagram in rough, I'm not good at drawing, but I will try. See, and this is your nasal chamber. I mean to say, this is your nostrils, and this enters your nasal chamber, and you have pharynx at the bottom, and it is followed with two types of tubes. So, what are those tubes? So, you should be hearing about the windpipe and the food pipe, right? See, these both, this is meant to go for the lungs for respiration, and this food pipe has to go to the stomach for digestion. Hope you're following my class. I'm not confusing you. Okay, see, you have two openings. This is your mouth, right? So mouth opening is something like this, and the nasal cavity is also opened that way. And this pharynx is something that is present between, or at the top you have nasal cavity, and at the bottom you have food pipe and windpipe, and this is your pharynx. Why pharynx is considered to be the most important part of your upper respiratory system? So you should be knowing it because you have already entered into undergraduation. So I just want to clear it out, because this pharynx is having an important part called epiglottis. See, what have you ever wondered what happens if suddenly the food particle that we ate enters the respiratory system instead of going to a food pipe? So that is why, see, we have the both things like this. This is your lung. For example, I'm just drawing it, okay? And this is your stomach thing, okay? And for example, if food particle, if it is has to enter this food pipe, it it entered into the lungs. What does happen? It leads to serious condition, very serious condition. It's a fatal condition, I can say, because the food particle has to be immediately stopped, and thus epiglottis plays an important role. What does epiglottis does? Epiglottis is acting as a flap like structure. It is a flap like structure that would stop the food coming into the windpipe. So it covers the windpipe. It is like this. For example, food is coming from the top and it has to enter into the food pipe. But what does epiglottis does? It acts as a flap and would immediately close close the opening of your windpipe, so that the food would be moved towards your food chamber or food pipe, right? So that is how this epiglottis plays a major role in the upper respiratory tract in system. Okay, and thus that is why the pharynx has become the deciding factor for your upper respiratory systems. Okay, these are epiglottis. Okay, and you have what are the important parts under epiglottis? Let's talk about it. You have nasopharynx, you have oropharynx, and you have laryngopharynx. Okay, this narrow pharynx, I told you, it comes from the nasal cavity. It is the one that joins the nasal cavity and the pharynx, and that is the first part, and it is connected to nasal cavity. And oropharynx, that is present behind your oral cavity. Okay, it's not confusing. I'll give you a slide diagram in the last. Okay, it is present behind oral cavity. Okay, so that is what you call oropharynx. Laryngopharynx is something that is it is continued towards larynx. So it moves towards larynx. Okay, it's what you call laryngopharynx. Okay, the three important functions also I will give you in the description box. Please go through it. Okay, and also the important information, further information will also be given in the description box. Okay, so till now I covered about the nasal cavity, pharynx, and the types of, I mean, what are the subdivisions of your pharynx: nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. Okay, now let's enter into larynx, and also I'll talk about the diseases today itself, about the about the bacteria that enter into our body. Everything will be discussed in this class only. Okay, now let's talk about larynx. So you all know that larynx is called a voice box. Every person's voice is mainly is dependent on this larynx only. What's larynx? Larynx has a flap, or I can say they are folds like structure. Okay, like let it will be like this, like, and they keep vibrating whenever the air passes through. See, when we inhale, okay, when we inhale, like if it is oxygen is given, it starts vibrating, the flaps start vibrate, and these vibrations give you the sound. That is how you decide the sound of a person. So larynx is called the voice box. Okay, and it is be continued as trachea. So let's talk that about that in the next class, about the lower respiratory tract. Okay, now all the three important ones have been covered. Okay, and now let's talk about the diseases that are mainly uh, uh, done by it. What are the types of bacteria, or what are the types of viruses that attack the upper respiratory tract? See, these days we have been hearing about the flu, COVID virus. The first one being, I already told you, it's common cold. Second being pharyngitis. Third one being epiglottis. See, epiglottis, I will tell you what's that. Laryngotracheitis, sinusitis. This is, I think, most often you come across. Okay. See, common cold, I told you, the symptoms of it, and also what are the common viruses, right? It could be influenza virus, it could be flu virus. Okay, these are all coming under the common cold. Okay, what is pharyngitis? This attacks the pharynx of your upper respiratory tract. Pharynx is inflamed, I can say. Okay, so inflammation leads to the pain and all, right? So, and this pharyngitis is generally caused by streptococcus bacteria, which is a bacteria. So what happens to this? These people, they can't swallow the food. They have difficulty in swallowing. They can't open their mouth properly. Difficulty in swallowing, can't open mouth, and they can't take food also, right? So these are because they have the pharynx inflamed, enlarged. Okay, that's mainly caused by streptococcus, which is a bacterial infection. Okay, now let's go to the epiglottis. See, epiglottis is a actually it's a part of pharynx, right? It's a part of pharynx. It is generally present at the top of your trachea. You already know that. And it is when it is inflamed, what happens? It is not able to close that windpipe. See, in this glottis gets inflamed, what happens? It is completely covering the windpipe, and it is not able to the person is not able to respire well. He is not able to take the oxygen for respiration, so they will be having the breathing problem. Okay, so I think these are the two important symptoms of the inflamed epiglottis. Okay, and this is laryngotracheitis. This laryngotracheitis is mainly due to enlargement, or I can say it's inflammation of larynx. So what is larynx? I told it's a voice box. Because of this inflammation, these people has got low voice. Sometimes in rare cases they may lose their voice. Okay, and they may have hoarse voice also. Okay, these are the main important symptoms of laryngotracheitis. And now comes the important and interesting topic called sinusitis. See, first of all, you should be knowing that what is sinus. Sinus are the hollow spaces. They are the hollow spaces that are present at back of the bones in face. See, here you can notice that there are some hollow spaces here, like near the nose bridge, or you can say under the eyes you have some hollow spaces. Even in the cheeks you have some hollow spaces, and even near your eyebrows and all you have some hollow spaces. And these hollow spaces get accumulated with mucus. So fluidy part, right? So because of infection, which is a virus, or it could be like bacteria. So what happens? The whole body, like whoever is having the sinusitis problem, they have a plumpy like face because of the accumulation of your mucus in the hollow spaces of your sinus, right? So that is how you can easily diagnose that he's having the sinusitis, right? So they also have fever, they also have respiratory tract infections. And what are these are the common upper respiratory tract infections. And now in the next slide I'm going to give you what are the names of the bacteria and the names of the viruses that only target the upper respiratory tract. Okay, so let's go to that class. Hope I'm making sense, as I'm so interested in talking about the animal physiology. Yeah, okay, please pose me the questions if I'm not that clear about the topic. Okay, see, here comes the important slide. So this is the upper respiratory tract I'm talking about. So if you notice it, this is your nostril, and this is how the the nasal chamber as nasal cavity has been entered, and this goes as in this way, right? And here it is the epiglottis, which would act as a flap between your windpipe and your foot pipe. Okay, and see, sinusitis, I told you, these are the hollow spaces that are present in your face at the back of your bone, right? So if you see, notice them, S stands for streptococcus, right? Bacteria. Streptococcus pneumonia, Haemophilus influenza, and mycobacterium. Yeah, M stands for mycobacterium. And the nasopharyngitis, if you see, you have rhinovirus, you have coronavirus, you have adenovirus, you have influenza virus, you have para-influenza virus. Infections that are caused due to the viruses are mainly targeting the nasopharynx. So I told you pharynx is of mainly three types, right? Naso, oral, and the other thing, right? So nasal pharynx is mainly targeted by the virus. So if you see about the tonsillitis, this you have seen, like, see, if you consider this, you have a pair of tonsils on the either side of your throat, right? They are called the tonsils. So these tonsils, sometimes because of the infection and mainly because of the bacterial infection, these tonsils get inflamed, and due to which it gives you very severe pain when you touch it. Okay, they are very painful, and because of which the whole thing gets swollen up, and you can't even take the food properly, you can't open your mouth, you can't just gulp water also. So this is the condition because of the bacteria getting accumulated in the tonsils, right? And these tonsils, is mainly caused due to bacteria. Okay, and these are the types of bacteria that affect your tonsils. They are streptococcus pyogenes, streptococcus pneumoniae, Haemophilus influenza, and Staphylococcus aureus. These are all the types of bacteria that are attacking only the tonsils. Now let's go for pharyngitis. So here, if you see, it's only the streptococcus pyogenes, the one. The remaining all are the viruses. Only the streptococcus attacking the pharynx. So pharynx, you know that, right? And larynx, I told you, which affects your voice box. So you all know that there is an interesting fact that I want to tell you. So have you ever noticed that there is a small protrusion, I can say. There is a small protrudence seen in the throat of a man. And most of the men have a protruding area here because of the larynx. Because that protrusion is called the Adam's apple. Okay, that is nothing but the voice box. It's prominently seen only in the men, and you can't see that in women. Okay, and that is called the Adam's apple. For your basic thing, I just want to say that. Okay, and I told you, affecting the bacteria and virus that are affecting only the larynx are laryngitis, and the influenza or para-influenza viruses, Haemophilus influenza, Mycobacterium catarrhalis, Streptococcus aureus, Mycobacterium pneumoniae. Okay, Clostridium pneumoniae. So these are all the types of bacteria that are affecting the larynx. So please, this slide is important for the microbiology students also, and also for medical microbiology students also, because they will also, that they might be asking which part gets affected because of bacteria and virus. So hope I am clear with the topic today. Hope I am not boring the subject. So I will add everything in the description box, and also the links for it. I'm also posing the questions in my channel. Please go through it and try to answer them. Okay, each and every question, I'm posing daily. Please go through my channel and please try to answer the question. Okay, and see you in the next class with the important topic of respiratory system, which is the lower respiratory tract, where you come. See you in the next class. Until then, stay positive, stay healthy, and be kind to everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.